This is the scariest monster ever. Just 44 years ago, TV is still a rarity in the world. Many families have little desire to see a movie, have to crowd in public places to watch in the open air. But at that time a director named Ridley made a sci-fi alien movie, released in 1979. This production cost of $11 million, took nearly $183 million out of viewers' pockets, caused a great commotion at the time. Movie Alien is known as the originator of sci-fi horror films. The story happened in 2122, after the Covenant incident. Wieland Corporation, which has experienced 2 failures, begins to shift its focus from space colonization to resource extraction. A commercial spaceship, the Nostromo, is carrying a crew of 7, a cat, and 20 million tons of ore. On the way back to Earth, the central control system suddenly receives a strange signal. According to company regulations, when an abnormal signal is received, system must wake up all crew. Then the 7 crew members are awakened early on this lonely voyage. After waking up, the crew sit together, eat and chat, thought they are about to reach Earth, so happily discuss the topic of remuneration. At this moment, the yellow light is on. This means that the system finds something unusual. But when they all came to the cockpit, only to find that they have strayed far from the solar system. According to the plan, they should be close to Earth by now. The crew are puzzled by this. The Captain Dallas soon finds out why. It turns out that the spaceship has received a signal that seems to be calling for help. This signal repeats every 15 seconds, so the control system has the right to issue new instructions and change route. Flying to an asteroid with an unknown ecosystem for search and rescue. Then technical engineer Parker says, this is a cargo ship, not a lifeboat. He thinks they don't have to take over such unpaid work, but the scientist Ash tells him the company's contract requires that if the spacecraft detects the intelligent life signal on the way, then must go to investigate. If breach of contract, the pay for this trip is all wasted. Hear this, Park is stunned instantly, so they reluctantly follow the signal source to trace it. Actually now all of them have fallen into a huge conspiracy. Soon the spaceship will enter the asteroid orbit. After surveying the terrain, the crew drive a small spaceship to find out. But due to excessive airflow, the landing gear of the spaceship fails during landing. 3 of the 4 shelves are damaged. Repairman Brett and Parker can fix it in 15 hours, but in order to vent their dissatisfaction with this mission, deliberately delay the time to 26 hours. Crew detect pristine atmosphere on planet. Air composition is mainly high concentration of nitrogen, carbon dioxide and ethane. The temperature remains below 0. Such a harsh environment hardly has life, and it is found that the signal source is still transmitting. The distance to them is about kilometers. So the Captain Dallas leads the vice captain and navigator Lambert to disembark to track down the source of the signal. Soon after, the 3 discover that the signal is from the wreckage of a huge alien spaceship. It means that there may be alien creatures here, and now they have to muster up the courage to continue exploring. As the 3 get closer to the spaceship, the signal quality is worse. Then they enter the interior of the spaceship through the round-shaped entrance. Every step of this operation is full of unknowns. 3 of them are in the dark and huge cave. Nobody knows what creature they'll see next. What challenges will we face? At the same time, Ripley discovers system deciphers part of signal. This may not be a distress signal, but a warning. She wants to call the 3 back immediately. But Ash looks nervous, says it's too late to go now, better wait here for them to come back. See, after persuading Ripley, Ash has relief immediately, and when they come to the spacecraft control room, the first thing that catches the eyes is a huge space seat. There's a giant alien corpse on it. Actually he is an engineer, just taller than the engineers in Prometheus, due to age. His body has turned into a fossil. What surprises the 3 even more is that the giant sternum is curved outward. Seems like something came out of his chest cavity before he was alive. Then they find a hole under the floor. The vice captain continues to explore the depths, descends to the bottom with a rope. The temperature inside is much higher than outside. Another weird spawning pool is found here. It contains a large number of eggs of unknown creatures. If look carefully, the black water on the egg is dripping upward against gravity. Turn the light down a little. Find that there are still creatures wriggling inside, apparently still alive. At this moment, an egg suddenly opens. The vice captain couldn't help poking his head out of curiosity to check. Next, a facehugger jumps out of it, tightly attaches to his mask. He immediately falls into a coma. The captain and Lambert quickly brings the unconscious deputy captain back to the spaceship. Learned that someone is being absorbed by some unknown creature. Rational Ripley refuses to open the hatch to prevent other crew members from being infected. A 24-hour quarantine is required, but the captain insists that saving Liv is the priority. Just when they are arguing, Ash aggressively opens the hatch. Let 3 people enter the spaceship. The wounded are hurriedly taken back to the medical room for treatment. At this point the facehugger has corroded the oxygen. The mask is firmly attached to the face. Ash carefully cuts the helmet with a laser cutter, but when he takes off the helmet, the vice captain's face is tightly wrapped with a terrifying creature that they have never seen before. They seem overwhelmed. In order to get this thing down as soon as possible, Ash tries to snap off monster's tentacles with pliers, but as soon as he tries hard, the monster's tail tightens. The vice captain's neck could be snapped at any moment. Facing this situation, they can't do anything. Since monster cannot be stimulated, they quickly ran full body scan to him. After scanning, they find an even weirder thing. One of the monster's tentacles has gone down his throat, but didn't kill him directly. Instead, he is given a steady stream of oxygen, while paralyzing him. Let him live, although don't know why, in order to save him as soon as possible. Even knowing nothing about this creature, the captain still has to take the risk of cutting off the monster from his face first. Then, the captain forcibly cut off the monster's tentacles, but the laser knife just makes a small opening. Yellow blood gushes out from the wound. The monster's blood contains a strong acid, can directly corrode the floor of the spaceship. Then, the captain immediately takes the crew to the next cabin to check, but when they arrive at the second floor, it's also corroded. Seeing such a horrible scene, they also have to rush to the third cabin. Luckily, the acidic blood finally stops to corrode. The captain is surprised by this. It seems that this monster is much more terrifying than they imagine. Due to temporary inability to remove this monster, have to leave the vice captain in the infirmary for isolation. Observation by Ash. Late at night, the captain is notified. The monster suddenly disappears. It makes them to start to wonder, mixed with anxiety and fear. They carefully search every corner of the room, but couldn't find it. At this time, Ripley is so scared and screams. They quickly step forward to check. Close observation, the monster moves in reflex, but why does it die suddenly? It is high risk, and blood is highly corrosive. Ripley thinks it should be dumped away immediately, but Ash wants to bring it back to Earth for further study. This is definitely a whole new alien kind. The captain agrees to Ash's proposal. Ripley strongly disagrees with the decision. She tells the captain she doesn't trust scientist Ash, and he did a lot of things that are not part of the normal procedure. The captain says, according to company regulations, he is only in charge of cargo ships. Matters concerning the science of sailing must be decided by Ash. At this time, the spaceship malfunction has also been fixed. After confirming that there is no intelligent life here, they drive the spaceship and leave the planet. Just when the crew come together to discuss how to freeze Vice Captain, the Vice Captain, who was in a coma, suddenly wakes up. He doesn't seem to have any other abnormalities. See his condition, everyone breathes a sigh of relief, and he feels very hungry now. Everyone cheers, prepares a big dinner for him. The Vice Captain has a particularly good appetite. Ash is observing the change of the Vice Captain. After a while, the Vice Captain suddenly goes wrong. The crew think he might be choking on a meal, but his body suddenly falls on the table. Body twitches uncontrollably. Everyone is surprised. Why does he suddenly get sick? And there is an extremely painful expression on his face. Just when everyone is at a loss, a horrible scene happens. His clothes are torn. There's a little monster inside, about the size of a fist, bursts out, scares everyone. Parker wants to kill him on the spot, but it is blocked by Ash. The monster looks around. Under the terrified gaze of the crowd, it disappears from sight. There's an extra alien monster on board. Crew look worried. To deal with that little monster, the repairman Brett simply makes a stun gun. Ash makes an activity sensor. Whenever a moving object approaches, the sensor will immediately trigger the alarm. The crew then take up arms, split into two groups, begins a sweeping search of the ship, even if only one line. But in this dark spaceship, you will feel it everywhere. When they enter the dark storeroom, the sensor responds. According to the guidance of the sensor, the three immediately reach the locker ahead. The three set up the net, ready to catch. But when they open the locker, turns out it is their cat hiding in there. In order to prevent the cat from disturbing everyone to catch the monster again, Packer asks Brett to find the cat. While Brett is looking for the cat, he finds a strange skin, but he neither knows it was from the little monster actually, nor the little monster is no longer the little guy it used to be. Then he comes to a dark cabin and finds the cat. When he is about to call the cat over, the cat immediately spots the monster behind him. Surprisingly, only a few hours passed, the little monster has been transformed. The cat takes a step back in horror. After Brett notices this, he turns around. A monster taller than him appears in front of him, disgusting liquid flowing from the mouth. Brett is soon killed, and dragged it into the air vent by the terrifying monster. When Ripley and Parker hear the sound and rush over, only a few traces of blood remains. The cat on the side is dumbfounded by fright. Within hours, two crew members are dead, make everyone panic. They don't know what species it is, but for sure, the monster lurks in the vent. It's a good thing for them, because the vent pipe leads to the main air compartment, and only one access port. Just block the exit, drive it into the air compartment, just throw it out of space. If want to destroy it, someone has to venture into the vent, so the captain assigns Ash and Ripley to guard the main air cabin. Parker and Lambert are going to block the maintenance hatch. The captain may be out of guilt, sneak into the ventilation duct alone. After all, he was the one who insisted on taking the vice captain aboard, and caused the dangerous situation. Not long after, the team members outside quickly track the location of the monster, but monster is smarter than what they think. It keeps changing positions in the pipeline. Detector is hard to pinpoint the position. At this time, the captain touches a puddle of disgusting slime on the ground. Then the monster's signal suddenly appears, approaches him quickly. Everyone is worried about the captain, only Ash has no expression on his face. Lambert keeps calling the captain to hurry up, but no one tells him where to flee, and it's too late to run. The monster blocks his retreat with ghostly speed, kills the captain. The monster shows its powerful and limitless power, bit by bit devouring the fragile nerves of crew members. The rest of the crew begin to fall apart under the immense pressure. Lamport proposes to abandon ship, escape in space shuttle, at least not to be eaten by the monster, but the space shuttle can only carry 3 people. Heard this, Parker loses his mind in an instant, ready to go and fight with the monster with a flamethrower. Only Ripley remains calm, cheers up everyone. The only way is to work together and throw the monster out of space, so they can return to Earth safely. Ash has no reaction to this matter, doesn't comment, can't help but make Ripley suspicious. She comes to the control room, wants to ask the system if there is a better way to destroy the monster. System replies 937 special order, only scientist Ash can visit, so Ripley enters Ash's ID code, asks what is the 937 special order. It turns out that a shocking secret is discovered. The content of Order 937 includes the routing of spacecraft, the investigation of satellite biological collection specimens, and the return of aliens to Earth as a priority, even at the expense of the lives of all crew members. Ripley instantly understands. All of this is a conspiracy by Wieland Corporation, set a trap from the start, use a few crew members as bait. The real purpose is actually to find powerful biochemical weapons on the location planet. Ash plays a role in fueling the flames. He decides the critical moment. Ripley hurries to Parker and Lambert, ready to tell them the secret. Ash actually closed all the hatches. At this time, an unknown white liquid flows from his head. During Ripley's revolt, and a bunch of hair is pulled out. Ripley doesn't expect it at all. The scientist who has always seemed weak and quiet has such a side. He knocks Ripley out with a blank face, rolls up the magazine, shoves it into Ripley's mouth. At this moment, the two finally catch up in time, come to help. Unexpectedly, even the taller Parker is no match, so he could only pick up the iron rod and hit Ash hard on the back. Suddenly, the body of Ash seems out of control, flipping hundreds of times in a row, spitting milky white liquid at the same time. Seeing such a strange scene, Parker has no choice but to continue to strike. As a result, Ash's head falls off strangely. It turns out that Ash is a bionic sent by the headquarters. No wonder he follows orders so strictly. Ripley thinks Ash should know how to kill the alien, so fix some of his functions. But the answer is that it cannot be killed, because this alien is a complete organism, in terms of body structure and attack power. Parker hears it, set fire to it. At this point, they have no way out. The only way is to activate the sheep's self-destruct sequence, blow up the alien on the spaceship. The three then escape on the space shuttle, but starting the space shuttle requires a lot of coolant, so Ripley goes to start the space shuttle, and the other two collect the coolant at the fastest speed. But when the two take out the coolant, accident happens again. The alien sneaks out of the ventilation duct. Lambert is frightened on the spot. Parker roars and tells Lambert to get out of the way. He's going to shoot the fire. Lambert has been frightened out of her wits, legs are shaking. Parker is afraid of hurting her, so dare not use the flamethrower. Bravely rushes up to fight the alien hand to hand. Alien turns and uses tail to flip him over. The alien standing upright is up to 2 meters high. Humans are no match for it at all. Actually, the alien is not maliciously attacking humans, but just wants to survive. Lambert on the side has been frightened to despair, doesn't realize that the alien's spiky tail is slowly approaching her. Then, a scream resounds through the entire cargo ship. Ripley hears the scream, hurries to help with weapon, but on the way, the screaming has stopped. When she arrives, finds out too late, the two have been dead. Sees such a tragic scene. She is sad and desperate, dares not stay for a moment, quickly runs back to the master control room. She immediately activates the sheep's self-destruct mechanism. After emergency activation of the self-destruct system, the spaceship will explode in 10 minutes. She needs to get to the space shuttle as soon as possible to escape, but Ripley doesn't dare go back the same way, can only pass quietly from the bottom of the spaceship. However, she accidentally discovers the lair of alien at the bottom of the spaceship. The captain and others are not dead, but have been dragged here, encased in alien secretions, become a container for aliens to breed offspring. These people have no hope of survival. Captain's last breath, begging Ripley to help him out immediately. Ripley can't bear to see him suffer, takes the flamethrower and burns down the entire lair. Now, there are only 3 minutes left before the spacecraft explodes. When she returns to space shuttle, finds that the alien has already ambushed there. Ripley's soul is so frightened, quietly puts down the orange cat in the cage, distracts the alien, then she quickly returns to the control room, but the alien doesn't hurt the cat, because cat is not a threat. After running back to the control room, Ripley attempts to deactivate the self-destruct device, then plans to eject the alien carrying space lock into space. Nice idea. However, after the self-destruct procedure exceeds the time limit, order cannot be withdrawn. This makes her extremely desperate. The desperate Ripley has no choice but to return back to fight with the alien. To her surprise, the alien has disappeared. Fortunately, She picks up the box and takes the cat aboard the space shuttle, and she also quickly walks to the cockpit and turns on the system. After pressing all start buttons, at this moment she breathes a sigh of relief. She finally gets out of the spaceship on the space shuttle. Not long after the space shuttle leaves, the spaceship explodes violently. The Nostromo and 20 million tons of ore are blasted into dust in space, although far from the mothership. The aftermath still causes the sea to shake violently. Ripley thinks the nightmare is over. The hanging heart finally relaxes, because no living thing could have survived an explosion of this magnitude, so she feels relieved at this moment, gets ready for a good sleep, but just as she is about to start the hibernation program, the claw of the alien suddenly stretches out. Ripley panics and hides in the locker room. Unexpectedly, the tough alien has not died. It also hides in space shuttle, but it doesn't attack. Don't know that if it is too weak at the moment, or still sleeping between two pipes, or a sickness reaction. Ripley is too scared to breathe. She quietly puts on the space suit, thinks of a way to deal with the alien. She picks up a lock gun, walks out after everything is ready, comes tremblingly to driving position, then secures herself in the seat with the seatbelt. She wants to blow the alien out of the cabin with a huge vacuum, then starts the cooling system carefully, forces out the alien. The alien also becomes extremely painful under the attack of coolant, climbs out of the pipe abruptly. At this time, Ripley is already in extreme fear, trembling all over, but she still sticks to her plan. The moment the alien approaches behind her, she quickly presses the hatch button. Huge vacuum sucks the alien out, but the alien's powerful arm is tightly grasping the hatch. Ripley is so scared that she immediately makes up a shot, knocks the alien out, but the hatch is jammed again by the lock gun. The alien is still swinging outside the cabin. It is indeed the strongest creature in the universe. It hooks its tail to the jet port of the spaceship, wants to climb into the spaceship. Seeing this, Ripley directly uses the engine to start the plasma flame to completely melt the chain, finally sending the alien into deep space. Ripley uses bravery and wisdom to fight with powerful the alien fearlessly. She is the sole survivor of the interstellar freighter Nostromo. She sends a distress signal and records everything to the voicemail, then enters hibernation and waits for rescue. But what she doesn't know is the grudge between her and the alien has just begun. 40 years have passed. Watch back Alien movie again. The movie is still the kind of existence that easily kills a large number of horror movies in seconds, still sitting on the throne.